Hi, I'm Claudia, and today I'd like to take you through a step-by-step process of getting into headstand. My goal for you today is to figure out what step you're on and not go past that, right? So if you figure out, hey, this is the step I need to be on, I want you to stay there today, work on the conditioning exercises I provide you, and you'll realize in no time you'll be ready for the next step. So please use this video repeatedly until you find yourself in a headstand, but return to it. And again, be willing to just stay exactly where you feel like your body needs to be and just work on the strength, and eventually that next step will just come. So let's set it up. Setup is really, really simple, but it's very important to find a few things. The number one thing we need to find is the top of our head. One of the most common mistakes is that we put pressure too far forward on the head and then we crunch the back of the neck. A big part of the headstand is getting to the top of the head. So please place the heel of your hand right between your eyebrows. Place the palm of your hand on your forehead and your middle finger, wherever it arrives on the very top of your head, the very tip of your middle finger, that's the top of your head, and that's the part of your head that will be touching the floor in a headstand. So for me, it helps to put a little, I kind of push hard, that way I feel a little sensation on the top of my head, and I remember when I'm down on the floor where that point is. So go ahead and do that for yourself, make sure you find it, and then let it go. The next step is to set up our foundation. The foundation is also really important here. So it's really simple. I'd like you to come down to the floor and hold on to your opposite elbows. Where your opposite elbows are, just like this, that's where your elbows will be in your headstand. You don't want to let them move. If you've got a lot of muscle in your upper body, if you're tight, whatever's going on, the tendency sometimes is to let the elbows slip wide or to bring them in too narrow. So please do take note of where they are. And then from there, release your elbows and interlace your fingers and place them on the floor. Palms should be open and not closed. That's exactly where the back of your head is going to go, is in the palms of your hand, and the very top of your hand is going to find the floor right here. We're not in any rush to go upside down right away. We really just like to get you nice and strong and feel what it's like to be upside down, but feeling really supported. So initially, it's really important also to know that headstand is a bit of a misnomer. You're not just on your head. That's actually not where you want all of your weight. You always need to have the capacity to push into your arms and lift a little weight off your head. Otherwise, your neck can get a little crunchy. And that's why I don't want you to just flip upside down before you're ready. You always want to have the capacity to lift your head away from the floor. So let's give it a try here. So initially, again, opposite elbows, keep your elbows there, interlace your fingers to cradle the back of your head. From here, please tuck your chin, and exactly where you found the top of your head earlier with your finger, I'd like you to put that on the floor and feel the back of the head on the mat. You can walk your knees back a little bit here. So if you feel like your shoulders are hunched, then you've come a little bit too far. I'd like instead to pull the shoulders away from the ears, and here's a really great place. Make sure you can push into your forearms and lift your head. It's a nice little test to make sure you can lift your head all the way up. Tuck your chin, put it back down, lift it up, down, up, down. That's the action we need to be able to maintain in our headstand to keep our neck safe. So if that already feels challenging, just stay there, work on that, okay? The next step would be to tuck our toes and just lift the knees up off the mat. If you've got some strong, lengthy hamstrings, you'll be able to lengthen your legs all the way, but that's not at all necessary. You want to just bring a little weight of your hips up. This is another really important place. You can feel your core. You should feel your arms really working here. And again, make sure you can lift your head up and bring it back down. Up and down. And if you can't, work on that step, okay? So again, making sure you can lift your head up off the floor is really necessary. The next step here is to start to work our hips above our shoulders. That's a really big deal. So walk your feet in closer and get your hips as stacked on top of your shoulders as you can. Your toes might start to feel light. That might be a lot of the shoulders. Bring your hips top of our shoulders. This is when we can start lifting one heel to the hip. Keep your knee in your chest and switch. Heel to hip, knee and chest. As you do so, you can start to work the body weight forward and back. Hips over shoulders and back. Take a rest. Make sure that's what feels good for your body. And again, make sure you can lift your head up off the mat. If you've gotten to the point where your neck feels like it's got too much pressure, back up. The next step here is where we start just lifting and then getting in a little bit of a crouched position. Now that can be a lot. And if you're not feeling stable, this is where you bring ourselves to the wall. And I highly recommend that if you've not done it before, is just flip around, get your mat right up against the wall, and we'll work on it from here. So from this position, Very similar setup, exactly same setup actually. Interlace all 10 fingers, hold opposite elbows. Try to be about 6 to 8 inches away from the floor, or from the wall. Lift your hips up, same thing here. We're gonna get in a crouched position and get the hips up, right above the shoulders. This is a great place to stay and just get really used to being upside down. Please don't be in a rush to bring the legs up. That's not the next step. Just focus on keeping your hips above your shoulders. The next step is actually just bringing your feet all the way back to the wall, just like this. That way you can get your knees stacked on top of your hips and focus on your core engagement here, okay? So if you feel like your hips are moving back toward the wall, or if you feel like your hips are too far forward, you have a banana back going on, this is the place I want you to work on, just having a little tuck at the tailbone, pushing away from the floor, and keeping your knees right on top of the shoulders. From here, you might need to take a break. That's just fine. This is a great place to stay stable and to work on your alignment. Then you can start to work one leg up, but no banana back here, please. Just from here, one leg up, and come back down. The other leg up, and come back down. So now you're just getting used to being upright, but again, a lot of support with your toes against the wall. Once you're feeling stable there, that's when you bring both legs up. Squeeze the legs together, push your elbows into the mat. Try to avoid the banana back here. So if you feel like you're just reaching for the wall like this, I'd like you to back up. Come here, focus on tucking the tailbone, knees over the hips. Keep the weight out of your head, lift up. Here we go, and you're in a headstand. So again, find the step that works for you to come out nice and safe. Knees come into the chest, and then come on down. Whew. It's a lot of blood rushing to the head. So give yourself time to get used to being upside down. Again, it's really helpful to take breaks. It's really helpful to condition the shoulders. Good work. Let me know how it goes. Namaste.